in football, or so we say, futebol crazy Brazil, there isn't a bigger club than Flamengo with more than 45 million fans and one of the biggest social media presences in the world. The Red and Black have won 8 Brazilian league titles and 3 Copa Libertadores championships, most recently in 2022. The Rio-based club shares the Maracanã with Fluminense, and their Flu-Fla derby is one of the most storied rivalries in South America. Brazilian legends, past and present, have worn the famous red and black stripes, from the likes of Zico and Romário decades ago to more recently Ronaldinho and Vinicius Jr. This is the trophy cabinet for O Mengão, the Rio de Janeiro-based club that has become not only a force in Brazil, but a force in world football. So we're continuing our Club World Cup spotlight, and we will be talking about Flamengo. And on that note, we do bring our CBS Sports Brazilian football correspondent, amongst many specializations that he has, Mbizo Mzamane. Falou, irmão, vamos falar do Flamengo.
Vamos, meu amigo, vamos falar.
All right, Mbizo, talk to me. We know now that Flamengo is big. Actually, big is too small of an adjective. They are ginormous in Brazil. How did they get to this stage?
Yeah, well, obviously, this is one of the most historic clubs in the country. And of course, they have had incredible golden ages over the years. But more recently, they've really just had a very deliberate system where they've structured their team around experience from players in Europe's Big 7 leagues. And they've brought them back to Brazil, or from Europe into Brazilian leagues, maybe from other countries like Chile with Arturo Vidal. And they've just had some fantastic coaches who have modernized the tactics of the club, particularly with high pressing, structured defense, and so their sophisticated coaching and playing model, along with the sustained competitive success, both regionally and internationally, has really cemented them as some of Brazil's most famed and most popular clubs. And of course, one of the greatest icons of world football and Brazilian football played here with 509 goals and 732 appearances, and that's the famous Zico.
Mbizo, I was at the Flamengo training ground in 2019. It was during the Copa America in Brazil, right before the pandemic. And it was around that time where they were really imposing this switch with the club, especially financially, that they were able to bring in a lot of these guys. And that same year, they ended up winning the Copa Libertadores. So considering the size of the club, they play in the Maracanã. What are the expectations for a club like this whenever they go into a tournament like a Club World Cup?
Well, of course, I mean, fans are realistic. They understand that football has changed globally, and it is difficult to compete with European powerhouses who have incredible amounts of money and resources, and obviously huge fan bases all across the world. But Brazilian clubs always have faith in their ability to compete, and we have seen some scalps. I mean, I saw your post the other day about how Corinthians was able to steal away the World Club Cup in 2012, and so Brazil always has faith in themselves, and particularly now with clubs being run so professionally in such a modern fashion like Flamengo. At the very least, they expect to compete, they expect to play good football, and they expect to have a good showing that demonstrates the quality of Brazilian football, the domestic league, and to really represent South America as a whole.
Yeah, they should get out of this group with Espérance of Tunis, from Tunisia, LAFC, and obviously Chelsea. It's a team that can battle the likes, if you will, like when you look at a Saudi Pro League team and you see how star-studded they are, it's like, okay, this team should be able to compete. Flamengo on the international stage should be able to compete to a certain point, especially in Copa Libertadores. They're through to the next round. They're round of 16. They're leading the Brasileirão, and the guy at the helm is someone who's very young. You might know him, former Chelsea, Filipe Luís, right? He's won a couple of cups here and there, but he's finally really found the stride with this Flamengo side in Mbizo.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's another one who's brought in some even more modern tactics. In fact, I think he leads the world in high pressing, according to some recent studies, where he initiates defensive actions almost 70 meters away from his own goal. And these surpass pressing lines of clubs like Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Manchester City. And so, I mean, it's just been absolutely fantastic. And since he took over in late 2024, they've played 46 matches, and he has 31 victories and already 3 trophies. And as you mentioned, they sit atop Brasileirão. And so, I mean, he's just been absolutely spectacular. In fact, he's already attracting interest from big European clubs, including Atletico Madrid, who he also played for. And they just love the way that he approaches the game and the way he goes about it. And even here in Brazil, he's very lauded. In fact, we were hoping that maybe he might one day take on Seleção and lead us to glory. But for the time being, it looks like he's big on Flamengo and he can take them as far as possible.
Yeah, in an age where Brazilian management is really under a crisis, maybe this guy is the one silver lining, a young coach that's willing to change the script in management and lead the team to different heights, especially a team as big as Flamengo. Let's take a look, Mbizo, at the starting 11, the potential starting 11, right, from Flamengo at this Club World Cup, because it's got stars from the goalkeeper all the way to the forwards.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a top team. And again, many of these players do have European experience, top quality players who can offer so much. And for me, the particular players I think that people should pay attention to are Pedro, Bruno Henrique, Arrascaeta, and Wesley. Wesley just recently made his debut for the Seleção. Super veloz, super quick. And we love that here in Brazil. A wing back that joins the attack. Bruno Henrique has been very successful with Flamengo over the years. I'd say he's even one of the idols of the club in recent time. Arrascaeta is just that South American number 10. Puro suco sul-americano. I mean, just the nectar of South American guile and hard work in the center, making things happen. And then, of course, Pedro is a player who Brazilians have been calling to have in the Seleção for quite some time. A wonderful striker, holds up the ball well, superb finisher. And so these guys do have players who are top quality. In fact, I would even hazard to say that if Chelsea sleeps, they can catch hands. And potentially Flamengo can come atop this group.
Yeah, I really like Jorge Arrascaeta, that Uruguayan playmaker. He's been sensational. He's been at Flamengo for a really long time. You look at the wingers, you've got Everton Cebolinha on one side, who has European experience, has been playing in Portugal. He's now back at Flamengo. And then Luis Araújo on the right, that Americans might know him from his days at Atlanta United. So it really does feel like a complete team, Mbizo, so much so that would you be surprised if they made a deep run in this Club World Cup?
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, I was just discussing it with my social media manager, Wesley, who says to me that he believes that even Manchester City...
Flamengo is your social media manager?
No, he's actually a Corinthians fan, which tells you how much faith he has in Flamengo's ability to make a run into this tournament. He thinks that even Manchester City might catch hands from Flamengo if they sleep. I'm not sure I share that perspective. But what's clear is that they do have the potential to cause some upsets. They do have the potential to go far into the tournament. And it just depends on how the cookie crumbles. But looking at the group, I would certainly say at the very least they come out second. But again, if Chelsea doesn't play at their best, they can catch hands from these South American champions.
Yeah, Mbizo, thank you. I always have a soft spot for Flamengo because their first Copa Libertadores in this new era that they won was against River Plate in Peru. River was winning the game all the way up until the 89th minute, and then Flamengo scored 2 goals with a guy that's not there anymore, Gabigol, right, former Inter player, former Flamengo player. They scored 2 goals at the very end of the game to end up lifting the Copa Libertadores title. So their lore really, especially in these last 5 years, started in that moment, and they have really become a force in the continent. And Mbizo, thank you very much. Follow Irmão.
Follow me. Boa sorte pro resto do show.